So you're thinking about making the move to California and you're trying to figure out if it's going to be San Diego or LA. Well, in this video, we're going to dive into both, and I'm particularly qualified to talk about that because I've lived in both. So we're going to look at the good, the bad, the ugly, everything in between, and most importantly, give you a real feel for what these cities are truly like. So if that's what you're looking for, stick with us because we're going to get after it right now. All right, let's start with the very obvious thing, cost of living. This is an interesting point because San Diego was very recently named the most expensive place to live in all of the United States, not just California, by US News and World Report. But it is misleading, okay? Because as we're sitting here in San Diego saying, how can that be? Like our friends in LA and San Francisco and New York and these various cities are definitely paying more for their housing than we are. There's no question about it. Then we start and look at it and say, okay, why is this happening? And here's why. San Diego does not have as a tremendous amount of kind of lower end housing. Now, some people could argue that's a problem, okay? It's a problem because maybe we need more of it. But what happens is when you look at a place like Los Angeles, there's so much housing in the lower end of that of their county. Also New York, the amount of just low income that they have in terms of low income housing, Section 8, well, San Diego just doesn't have as much of it. So what happens is median price in San Diego officially $919,000 roughly. And in LA, it's about $836,000. Okay, so $919,000 versus $836, definitely a big difference there. But that's just, again, because of how much in the lower end of that housing market there is compared to here. But for you, for me, if I'm, for example, going and saying, all right, in San Diego, here's what my money gets me. Here's the size home it gets me. Here's the kind of location that it gets me. And if I take that payment and take it straight and directly over to LA, it ain't going to be as nice, okay? It's not going to be as big. It's just not going to be the same type of property as the one that I'd get here. There, if I wanted an equivalent, it's going to be more expensive in Los Angeles. But again, it's just such a big place that it skews the numbers. In the same the same logic, the same argument for the San Francisco area, New York, etc. So, having said that, monthly rent in San Diego, $1,842 on average, while in LA, $1,685. Again, same reasons. They just have a lot more low income, a lot more Section 8, that sort of thing in LA than we have here. And in average salaries is interesting, right? Well, average salary in San Diego is $67,200, while in LA, $63,000. So apparently people are getting paid more in San Diego than in LA. Again, it's kind of a symptom of the same, of the same issue, but just the other side of the coin. What happens is that because San Diego, it just has less entry-level jobs. It has less, minimum wage jobs. But again, a lawyer in LA versus a lawyer in San Diego, the one in LA is typically going to earn more. The investment banker in LA versus the one in San Diego, the investment banker in LA is going to earn more. So LA, don't make any mistake about it, despite what you're going to read in a place like US News and World Report, they're just taking averages and the median, and it absolutely just it doesn't take into account any of the context that's creating that. There's LA by all measure in terms of if you actually go have dinner there, live your life there, and figure out what a home just like yours in San Diego would cost you in LA, then you'll know their market is more expensive. By the way, I'm Dan Beer Home Team here with eXp Realty in San Diego, and if we can help you make any kind of move or just answer some real estate questions, and by the way, we don't care if it's 9 months, 9 years, 9 days, we don't care what the time frame is. If we can make it easy for you, go to the first comment. You'll see all kinds of ways to get in touch with us. And if anything else, just make sure you hit the subscribe button and you'll be the first to know of any changing market conditions. So let's keep going. And let's talk quickly about the population. So San Diego County, about 3 million residents in San Diego County, while in LA, about 9 million residents, so 3 times the size. It is a huge place out there, which kind of brings us to, let's talk about the lifestyle, how these 9 million residents live versus the 3 million residents in San Diego. So San Diego, you're going to get a much more kind of easier going, laid back, beach vibe, and it's really a kind of series of these little towns, but just a huge commitment to the outdoors, a lot of hiking within arm's reach, most importantly, because look, LA has its hiking too. In fact, literally tomorrow, it just happens to be about 4 in the morning, I'm going to be driving out to the LA area to do a big hike on something called Mount Baldy. Now, it's a legendary hike, that's why I'm going to go do it, but it's out there. It's not just in the city. In the city, they have a little bit of it, but not nearly what you would find in San Diego, where 10 minutes this way, 15 that way, sometimes even just a few minutes out your door. There's trails, there's mountains. All of that definitely you have more of if you're wanting to enjoy the outdoors in San Diego. LA, more of a concrete jungle. Okay, more of just, it's built a lot of it is in the valley. And I don't mean what they call the valley. Actually, both sides of those mountains are a valley. So it's just concrete, just block after block, just oceans of jungle, concrete jungle, with a little bit of trees here, a little bit, just spruce throughout. But it is, literally the place is hotter just because the whole darn thing is like one big piece of asphalt. So which brings us really to one more thing to mention, which is beauty. I don't think there's even anyone in LA that's going to argue this. San Diego is a more beautiful city, not because it's more beautiful than LA, but because it's one of the most beautiful cities, not in California, not in our country, but go travel the world. You'll know this is one of the prettiest cities on this planet. It is awesome. So when it comes to just kind of lifestyle, outdoors, beauty, San Diego's got it. San Diego has it. Now, what does LA have? Well, it's certainly faster paced, and for some people, that's what they want, right? So if that's you, if you want more of that kind of New York meets California type of energy, then LA might be the better choice for you. It has a better restaurant scene. It has certainly the entertainment, the arts, all of that. In fact, the show business aspect of it, it's not something that's just like out there that you hear about in some random corners or just kind of it relegated to Hollywood. And no, it's everywhere. Pretty much no matter where you are. It's true. Your waiter that's waiting on you at the table, your waitress, probably is on their way to an audition right after they serve your table and they clock out. Like it's palpable. It is very much part of the culture there. Now, what's kind of neat about it is if you're into that sort of thing, you will see celebrities pretty much all the time. And they're all around. And the cool thing is they're not really bothered. They're not hounded. People are just simply used to it. So that's a nice thing. When it comes to entertainment, just staying in the theme of that, right? LA has got San Diego there. There's no question about it. The restaurants, look, we have good restaurants. They're just not as good as theirs. Okay, they have more of them. We have great restaurants. They have more of them. When it comes to the music scene, to the arts, to entertainment, they have... while San Diego, let me start there. While San Diego has its fair share, we get some of the best musicians in the world. They'll come here. They'll play the amphitheater in Chula Vista. They'll play the arena at San Diego State. They'll play over at Petco Park. But LA with the Hollywood Bowl, with LA Live, with the Greek Theater, and a slew of smaller venues all across LA County. There's just no argument, no doubt about it. Can't be, right? They have our number there. We still have a good scene, more than most of the country, but not to the level LA has. So if that's your thing, LA is going to take a notch right there. Now, in the theme of entertainment, let's go and jump over to sports. LA, hats off. You got it. Look, San Diego, we have the San Diego Padres. We don't have a football team in the NFL. We don't have an NHL team. We do have a sub-league team. They're called the Gulls. People like them. They enjoy them. Dollar beers or whatever they do. But it ain't NHL. And then we have, of course, no NBA team. So we do have the San Diego State Aztecs, who have a reasonable football team. They have a pretty darn good basketball team. Made the national championship a year ago. But still, it's not even like major conference sports. So when it comes to that, LA, from just starting in the college ranks, UCLA and USC, enough said. That is definitely just a higher level than what San Diego State is at least currently bringing. Hopefully they'll make the change and get into the Pac-12 or join the Big Ten or hopefully they'll go to a major conference, but they haven't yet. And of course they have two NFL football teams with the Raiders and the Chargers. Chargers used to be ours. They are now theirs. They have the most beloved team probably in all of LA, the LA Lakers. There's the Clippers. There's the Kings in the NHL. And of course the Dodgers. And with that, also championship after championship across many of those sports. While San Diego, well, when's the last time we had one? It was literally before what they called the NFL merger. So it was before the NFL was even what the NFL is of today. Then, yes, there was a Charger team that won a championship there. But, for all intents and purposes, we have no true major championship in any of the four sports leagues. So, LA, sports, absolutely, it's yours. Now, one good piece of news is we are finally, thank goodness, and LA already has this, by the way. They had two of them, two MLS teams, Major League Soccer teams, but we are finally going to have our first, and they are coming slated for a couple seasons from now. And the city, I think the city is just going to just go bananas for this. I mean, the city could not be more ready. So that'll give us our second professional sports team along with the San Diego Padres. And, it's a decent scene down here. But again, it just doesn't hold the candle to what LA's got going, and we will give them that. So let's talk about kind of the elephant in the room when you're talking about Los Angeles, Southern California as a whole. People think traffic. So it's a driving city. Either one. LA, San Diego, you're definitely in the car. You are driving, and you're driving a lot. That's just the way our cities are set up. So it's not Boston, New York, where you're going to just sometimes not even own a car. That's not this. Having said that, San Diego has so much less traffic, and most importantly, when we do have traffic, it's actually predictable. You know when the traffic's going to take place 9 out of 10 times. LA, on the other hand, I've literally been there driving 11:30 p.m. on a Sunday, stuck bumper to bumper in traffic. I mean, I used to live there, and just to make the point, like you'd run out of shampoo. Granted, it was my early 20s, but I'd run out of shampoo. And literally the thought process, as crazy as it sounds, I'd literally be thinking, should I take a shower, which means I have to drive like 30 minutes to go 4 blocks to get a bottle of shampoo, or should I just skip it? I mean, like, that's how ridiculous it is there. So what happens from a lifestyle perspective is that if you're going to choose Los Angeles, just be conscious of the fact that, you can't be thinking, hey, this whole thing's my playground. Like if you live, let's say, in Manhattan Beach, and you want to go and spend time in Beverly Hills, that's a journey. That is a journey. So think of it really when you're selecting where you're going to want to live there. If you choose Santa Monica, you're going to be Santa Monica, West LA. That's basically going to be your playground. If you're going to be into Hollywood, great. If you're going to be in the Valley, awesome. But just realize you're not going to be zipping around the whole place on a regular basis. In fact, even realtors pretty much just stick to their areas there, because trying to go from one place to the other could literally just take your entire day out. While in San Diego, opposite story. I mean, you could live in San Diego in the downtown area, for example, and say, let's go to dinner in Carlsbad, which from a miles perspective, that has to be, 25 something miles, maybe even a little bit more, but you're going to zip there, zip back. It'll be a 30-minute drive, but you're moving, right? You're going 65, 70 miles an hour the whole time. It just feels different than being bumper to bumper. Now, I've spent my time when I lived in LA, and I can tell you it's actually a really fun city, okay? They have, again, when it comes to the restaurants and the bar scene and all that, they've got it all. But it's the kind of place where a lot of people tend to enjoy their life a lot. Monday, on Saturday, Sunday, Monday to Friday, that commute, depending on where you chose to live and where your office is, it can be an absolute killer. Now in San Diego, you don't want to be too extreme about it either, but you have so many options within a 20-minute drive, because 20 minutes in LA, that can literally be just blocks. 20 minutes in San Diego, that could be that you have a 15-plus mile radius to choose from in terms of where you want to be, which is going to give you more options with housing, with lifestyle, with property type, all those sorts of things, right? Yard size. You're going to have a lot more choice in that regard when you're in San Diego. Now, it's worth mentioning really quickly that LA does have a subway system. It's not terribly extensive, but it will get you some places depending on where you're at. So they have that. San Diego does not. San Diego, what we have here is really a bus system, which is okay, and a trolley system, which is okay. The trolley being an above-ground train that goes intercity, and they've expanded it. In fact, there was just recently a very large expansion in the UTC area, so they're trying to do more with it. But for the most part, it's still cars, and I would say that LA would also tell you that that's the case for them, unless you happen to live pretty darn close to that subway line. They have limited stops, and also work also near that subway line. Now, finally, just to end the transportation side of it, let's give LA a little bit of props, because I think San Diego's been taking a lot of points in this one, as it should. But let's go to the airport. The nice thing about Los Angeles, while their airport is not laid out well, just kind of a horrible mess of a place to visit, but I will give it this. they have so many more direct routes. I mean, you can access the entire world on a direct flight from LA. And from San Diego, that's just not going to be the case. I think in San Diego right now, we have a flight to Tokyo. We have a flight to London. We have a flight to Frankfurt, I believe it is, in Germany. And outside of that, and some, a couple of the key Mexico destinations, but outside of that, you are absolutely connecting. And even within the United States, if you're not going to somewhat of a major city, you're connecting. While in LA, there is a far greater probability that almost regardless of where you are, whether it's in the States or any kind of major city outside the United States, that you're going to have a chance at finding a direct flight, while in San Diego, that won't be the case. Now, as a traveler, I appreciate that about LA. In fact, I'm going climbing. I'm climbing these 20,000 foot peaks in Bolivia here soon, and I'm going to be driving to LA to take the flight. That's just something that I wish we had here. They have there. So be it. That it is worth acknowledging. If you are a traveler, that's just something that you'll want to consider. All right, let's wrap this up with the job market. So San Diego, our biggest industries are, and keep in mind, there's everything. Okay, these are major cities. San Diego, like LA alike, these are millions of people. We have it all. But major industries, number one is we have technology. I mean, more so than most places you'll ever find outside of Silicon Valley. So we have a huge tech industry here. You have Apple buying campuses here, moving thousands of employees here. We have a really thriving tech world. We also have, of course, a lot of military. We have a huge marine presence and naval presence right here in San Diego. And it's a big part of the fabric of just what makes our community, and we love it. The other ones that make up a lot of our employment here are biotech, healthcare, research, and of course tourism, though LA absolutely shares that with us, right? Tourism, both places. Now let's jump over to LA. Their biggest job centers are food manufacturing, general manufacturing. I mean, they have one of the biggest and remaining, one of the last standing, I would say, textile manufacturing assembly industries in America. So that's there in LA. Of course, the entertainment industry, we've touched on that already, but it can't be overstated. Like, it is everywhere, all around you. You better like it or you better not be there. They also have a lot of information technology businesses, a thriving aerospace industry there in LA. In fact, when I lived in LA, I worked in the aerospace industry as a financial accountant. And they also have bioscience. So where should you live? Clearly, I've chosen San Diego. And I just think it's a matter of, do you need to be in that like big city hustle? And are you willing to, I want you to really like take this, that when we talk about traffic there, it isn't like a little inconvenience. I mean, it is just a different place. You have to go experience that for yourself. So if you're wanting that bigger city, every restaurant on the planet, no matter who you love in terms of music or entertainment, or maybe you're into theater. We didn't talk about this, but Pantages Theater, one of the great theaters in our country, it's in Los Angeles. So you have to really want that, make use of it, be out there. Sure, they have beaches like San Diego, but not like San Diego. Okay, like ours, flat out, just a lot prettier, a lot more of them. I think they would all agree in Los Angeles that we have the beach scene here in San Diego. So you're gonna need kind of to really be in love with all that hustle and bustle, and if not, then San Diego's the place. Now, I love that stuff too. I love great restaurants. I love great outings. But I love to just breathe. Right? I love the fresh air. And to me, when you look at the totality of all of that is here in San Diego County, it is just the right place for me. Now, there's right places for everybody, and that's the beautiful thing about life. And we're happy to help you discover that, go through it, and with the only agenda really just being that you get to where you're looking to go, because that's what makes working fun. That's what makes our job enjoyable. I hope this video has been helpful for you, just to give you a little bit of the feel of LA versus San Diego. And look, if it's not obvious from this video, yeah, we're rivals, man. I mean, you come to a San Diego Padre game, or back in the day, the Charger games when they were here, and the LA team would come to town, there's a little bit of a rivalry there. But you know what? It's kind of that big brother, little brother thing. We think we were growing up out here, and I'd invite you to come find out. So if you're looking to make that move in the next 9 days, 9 months, 9 years, again, totally irrelevant to us in terms of timing. We want to just help make this whole thing easier. Go to the comments. In the first comment, we've pinned all kinds of ways to get a hold of us. You can email, text us, call us. People are doing it every single day, and we're answering your questions. So hit that subscribe button so we see you on the next video. and we'll see you soon.